our country is the only one where the focus is given to the guru, the remover of ignorance. So when we had this function in my school, from where I went into one forum and jumped into this one now, we had called a lot of our old students to talk about their journey, because I think that matters a lot. And we were very happy to note that almost a student who studied about 20 years ago told me that whatever we had taken them through 20 years back has relevance today in terms of their collaborative skills, their communication skills, and the emphasis that the school had given to the core scholastics even in those days, without that force and thrust on academics and results. And that seemed to have made our day as teachers. When our children who are now well settled in their world of work come back and tell us that this is what the school has made, that is the moment for the teacher. So on this occasion of Teachers' Day, we can dedicate ourselves once again, I think, as teachers to the cause of our children, because we always believe that without the Shishya, there is no Guru. The Shishya has to be there, otherwise to whom will the Guru teach? To whom will the Guru mold? We need all that. So we could be akin to the gardener who's got a lovely garden to tend to, delicate children who are going to flower into beautiful human beings. We remove the weeds for them, which could be painful. You could be the potter, right, making the children the clay. All the analogies are fine. The bottom line is, when our wonderful children go out and into the world of work, that's where the real calling comes. So most of our children have kind of reiterated, it's not the results. Nothing matters except the grooming for life. I think this entire situation about control of fee has come probably because many schools have overcharged without providing adequate facilities.
Okay.
Now everybody has been blacklisted in the same brush, and if at least Tamil Nadu government, we are asked to present before them the fees charged versus the facility, and the clearance is given to us. So nobody is barring what you charge. If there's a ceiling, then schools will have to definitely go transparent and request for a revision to support, because on the one hand, the CBSE says we have to pay them 6th pay scale, 7th pay scale, and so on. And on the other hand, it says you charge only so much. Then where does the money come from? Isn't it? So that kind of talk, it has to happen across the table, and that too by people who can represent the management part of it.
Absolutely.
And if that happens, I don't think, because teacher salary is a big priority today.
Absolutely.
You cut down the fee, then it will first affect the salary you're going to pay our teachers.
Yes, very true.
So you'll have to look at both. And also some schools charge 1 lakh, 2 lakhs and whatever. And that's where I think the whole thing starts, where are you providing adequate facilities for the children to charge that kind of fee? And if that transparency is brought in the way we present what we are taking, I do not anticipate too much of an issue. If schools can show that these are my teachers, this is the number I have, and this is the reason why I charge this fees, I don't anticipate a problem about fee fixation at all. As far as skill subjects are concerned, you may, and there the CBSE has given us the lenience of outsourcing experts from industry also.
All right, so that would be.
I have, let's say 40 children, 5 want to do carpentry, 5 want to do that as a skill subject. I can ask people to come 1 hour a week and 2 hours a week and take the class. Similar to that, the number of subjects I'm willing to offer depends on the number of teachers I can access.
Okay.
For example, in Hosur, if I do not have teachers of that background in so many numbers, I probably will not offer so many subjects on my platter. I don't need to. NEP has released its document. CBSE will have to now streamline that document and make it applicable for schools. So though we have talked about 9, 10 and 11 and all those exams, right now we are still running in a school with 12th standard. So when the phase out is going to happen, when this 9, 10, 11 is going to come into, they say 21, 22 it should happen. Until and unless we are given total orientation on how to take the children into that category, what is their future? It's not stopping with 11th standard. What happens after 11th? What about the careers that they're going to map and take forth? If that is not outlined clearly by the CBSE also, then I think it will be very confusing for schools and for parents more importantly. Right now in schools, we are all playing safe because we have a 12th standard going, we have a 11th standard going, we are happy. But till CBSE steps in, and they have already released documents about that, but the clarity and the orientation of principals to now shift the school over into a, 11 stage, 8 and then 9, 10, 11 as one category, that has not yet happened. Once it is done, the pattern of exam in class 11, even that is going to be taken over by the NTA. That's what the NEP says. The 11th exam will also be conducted by the NTA. So we will need that clarity. It's not yet come through very sharply for us. We need to wait. The idea behind the 6th subject being taken by students, it's not mandatory yet. It is only optional, even now.
Yes.
What 6, 7, 8, they say it's good to introduce it right now, and your application only goes up to CBSE level. But 9 and 10, you'll have to go to the affiliation portal and actually formally log in there and introduce the subject, because that child will have to write an examination based on that 6th subject also. The idea is to give a buffer to the child that they can take the best of 5 and pass the examination. That is the purpose behind the 6th subject, right? So if the parent has taken the trouble of, in grade 10, let us say the child has done, we have only that English second language, and then we have sciences and social science, and then you have the 5th subject, right? Mathematics. And even in math now they're broken up into basic and higher level math.
Yeah.
So when that has happened and the 6th subject is coming in, let us say the child failed in mathematics. So it's very obvious that they cannot get into an engineering stream till they cleared that mathematics. But they can get into a stream which does not require math and can be declared as passed with the 5 subjects that they passed in out of the 6. And the child can take a compartment in math, and assuming they do well in that, then if they wish to apply and the school wishes to consider them, then yes. The 6th subject is a buffer to support pass. There would be levels which the CBSE will shortly unfold. At grade 3, what's going to happen? Yes, because these are all transitional years for children. We all know that as principals, the curriculum changes after 3 when they enter 4 and 5. It totally changes when they enter 6, when the physics, chemistry comes in instead of general science. Right? So when that's happening, these could be outcome-based examinations which must happen to clear children to get ready for that area. It's not that it's some kind of a danger looming in the corner. No, that's right. It is a clearance that has to happen in grade 3 to go to grade 4, and in grade 5 in order to go to 6, grade 8 in order to go to grade 9. Otherwise, children could be carrying gaps of learning till 12th standard and may not be aware of it throughout their lives.
Correct.
So at grade 3, you have this block. It helps the school to kind of put on, same par all the children during that exam before they come to the 4th level. You can analyze your school results and make sure that you redo it in order to get them ready for. We do bridge courses now, don't we?
Yeah, we do that.
So why do we don't have, we have an examination and then a bridge course. Instead of that, we'll be revisiting learning outcomes of grade 1 to 3 to ensure, not even 1 to 3, even 3 years plus to that 3rd standard level, to ensure that all of that the children are mastered. Otherwise, they are lost. They come to grade 10 and ask, what is a mixed fraction? You're in big trouble. You can't have a complete list of values which you think children should imbibe at the flicker of a hand. It doesn't happen like that. So these values that we want our children to have, they need to be very clearly defined as to which ones come first and which come later. So there are abstract values which cannot be imbibed in younger years. Those values will be reserved for later, where the self-awareness and understanding of children is broader. But at the tender years, as I mentioned, schools will definitely have to design guidelines where these values are imbibed into their learning itself of their major lessons. Which comes to mathematics, what of mathematics has values to show children? Correct?
Yeah.
What literature will show values? How do people respond to situations in literature stories? So the teacher will have to very carefully weave her values around that. And you can't have simply one framework and say this has to be executed with lesson plans. It doesn't happen as simply as that. And as I told you, any kind of value education, any kind of curriculum will not work if teachers do not walk the talk. Parents do not walk the talk. Society does not walk the talk. But what are our children seeing today? That the ones who have money wield the most influence.
Correct.
And might, they say, is right. That's what they see on movies.
Yes.
Anyone
Yes.
who's a tough guy appears to be right. He gets away with whatever he wants to do. Right? So
Yes. Yes.
no, that media is a very strong influence that is going to batter our basic values. But our country, and I think Amrita, you know far better than me, sir, you have also driven values as part of your curriculum. You're not working on your textbooks at all. I think values and the foundation of values is what your entire educational system is focusing on. And then the whole human being, and then your engineering or your high school or whatever. So what is happening there? It's not prayer, maybe meditation, mindful meditation, acts of kindness, taking care of environment. All this will have to be designed in such a way that seamlessly the child, the parent, the teacher, adults and children, hand in hand, they take the values across, sir. It can't be that you do it and I will do nothing. You be honest. It doesn't matter if I tell lies. I'm an adult. I can do what I like. No. If I say you cannot have fast foods, then I should not be having fast foods. Role modeling of the parent, if it happens, and along with role modeling of teachers, and there's a blended, beautiful value system that the school is going to design, which is practical, and the children can imbibe through looking at role models around them. Values can be caught, so they cannot be taught. No. Integrity, yes, truthfulness, honesty, everything is top down. So if you're talking about me being with my children in the ground, going for a walk in the morning, I use the time for a healthy walk with all my kids and enjoy the vitamin D of the sunshine. We take a long walk of 15 minutes. I have all these kids clinging on to me. It's very informal. And we just talk about everything and anything under the sun there.
Yeah.
So they ask me, what did you have for breakfast? And I ask them what you did, what happened at home yesterday. It's such a beautiful informal thing. So when that ice is broken between the teacher and the child, the rest of it will flow well. And we have to demonstrate values, sir.
Yeah.
Because children are looking at us all the time.